I saw changes that I knew needed to happen, and I just said, I'm gonna go ahead and start managing this department. Then I'm gonna manage this one. And I wanna manage that one too. And he's looking at me like, what? And I'm like, yeah, like those are now my departments. I got pregnant with Cameron, took maternity leave for about 2 weeks, worked from home, and I came back and I said, it's time for me to be the CFO. My name is Kellie Clark, and we are at my home in Scottsdale, Arizona. I am the CFO and Vice President of American Threat Assessment Consulting. I've got 3 beautiful kids, 16-year-old daughter, just turned 16, 13-year-old son, and almost 9-year-old son, and I have an amazing husband who I am blessed to partner with at work. Goodness, my day is full, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I typically wake up at 4:30, get some stuff done, whether it's work, train, get the kids off to school, get more work done, maybe train, go boxing, do Jiu Jitsu. Make sure I feel like my kids are supported. I want to be the role model for them. I think it's really important that I show them and I lead by example every single day, doing the hard things that sometimes we don't want to do but are necessary. I want to show them how to live their lives the most Christ-like as possible. I want to be a good wife, and I want to show my daughter how a woman should be treated, how a woman should treat her husband, how a woman should take care of her family. And I want my sons to understand, especially by their dad, how a man supports and loves his family, especially a man of Christ. It's kind of a nutshell in my life. I've been doing bodybuilding for almost 7 years. I remember starting in bodybuilding, and I went home and I told my husband, I'm like, I think I want to try bodybuilding. He's like, why? And I said, because I'm so stressed out at work. I wasn't working for him at the time. And I need something to take my mind away from the stress I had at work. I needed something else to think about. And bodybuilding was a new challenge for me, that it was so foreign, tracking food, learning what all these different lifts are. It was just something very new, and it became something that I fell in love with. I also started boxing years ago, and I stopped when I was 32 weeks pregnant with Brant. The coach I had at the time, he moved, something happened, so I just kind of stopped. I got into Spartan racing. That was a new thing that I decided to conquer, became an elite Spartan racer, and finished the last race I did top 15 in the world, so that was kind of cool. It was really neat racing alongside some of the top Spartan racers in the sport, so that was really awesome. I decided to step away from that, give my body a break. I thought it was just really hard to recover from. So then continued bodybuilding, competed in that for quite some time. About 2 years ago, my husband came home and he said, Brant needs to do Jiu Jitsu. And I think it was one of the first arguments we've had in a really long time. But I knew he was serious. I said no, and he said no, he's gonna go to Jiu Jitsu. And I said, okay, fine, I'll take him. So I started taking him, and I remember there was a day where I was telling Brant something, and he kind of looked at me frustrated. He says, well, you wouldn't know, you don't do it. And I'm like, dude, I cannot believe my 7-year-old just called me out right now. And I'm like, no, buddy, it's not for me, So I kind of watched his private lessons. I was there all the time. I saw the community that he was a part of, and some of the women on the women's team, and I thought, I think I'm gonna go ahead and give this a try. My 7-year-old keeps asking me to try it. I'm gonna go ahead and try it. I did, and I fell in love with it. And it's something that I now bond with my boys over. Putting yourself in situations, I've learned a lot from that sport, especially because it's so uncomfortable, especially for women, to have somebody in your space on top of you, feeling like you can't breathe, feeling like you're constantly panicking, and to be able to work through those situations is so important. And I think in this last year that I've practiced that, I have become I think I've just grown this fight mentality where I'm gonna get up every day and I'm gonna win. And I'm gonna win at something that's gonna challenge me. And when I can win at something that challenged me as much as Jiu Jitsu does, I start my work day and I win at work. And the things that come to me through work and situations and problem solving seem not as monumental as they used to, because you learn to conquer a lot of those fears. And those fears, we have them in our personal lives. You have them in relationships, you have them in business, you have them as a parent. And if you can show your kids that you can go to something head on, something that is scary, something that's really intimidating, and you can fight through that and come out okay, and you can come out safe, what else can you conquer in your day? We have fears as moms, as business owners. I'm constantly wondering, am I giving enough? Am I giving enough to work? Am I giving enough to my kids? Am I giving enough to my husband, to myself? And where is that balance? And I have to say, a lot of times I don't feel like I have it all together. I feel like I fall short in many areas. And I have to say that my faith has been something that has really carried me through all of that. And I'm not the woman that can sit down and tell you all these Bible verses I know, but I can tell you that since November 18th, 2018, I gave my life to Christ. And that day, I have never looked back. When we know that we have God in our hearts and in our families, that guides the decisions that we make. And that helps us in the times that we do have some fear. There's been times in business where I'm like, I don't know how this is gonna work. We went through COVID together. We've gone through a move. We've been through ups and downs. I left my job at a big distribution company to come work for David. And there was a lot of fear there. But I think I look at my kids, and if I can't teach them by showing them how I get up every day, no matter what. I got up at 4:30 this morning and yesterday morning because I just had shit to do. That's what you have to do to get it done. And it's not always great. And my kids will always tell me or not always, but they'll tell you Mom gets mad sometimes, it happens, but you have to pray. And when you train yourself every single day, I'm going to get up when it's difficult, and I'm gonna do the hard things whether I like it or not. Those uncomfortable things are just normal. You become comfortable being uncomfortable because it's just part of life. We're all gonna go through that. We're all going to experience those fears. Right now, my daughter just turned 16 years old. I wonder, gosh, now she's gonna be driving, and what are the decisions she's gonna make as a young woman, and am I giving her the best example to follow? Am I teaching her that? I don't know. Time will tell. Gosh, we had a really good service today in church, and it was all about the thoughts that run through our mind and our programming. I think they said it was 60,000 thoughts go through your mind every single day, but 95% of them are reoccurring. But we sometimes let those thoughts that replay in our minds dictate how we are in our lives. I'm not saying I never have those negative thoughts, but the consistency of what I do, how I treat myself, how I respect my mind and my body, how I try every day to be the best possible mother I can be, the best business owner, the best wife, it takes conditioning. And that's conditioning your mind, it's conditioning your body. And when you do those repetitive things over and over, and I go back to training, it helps keep me successful, it helps keep me sane, because I know those are things I can do. I go and I conquer things that are really difficult, and that carries over into what I have to conquer as a mom, as a wife, as a business owner, trying to balance all of these things. It's not easy, but it can be done. So when people say, I don't have time, Yeah, you do. You have time. It's a choice. You can choose to do the hard work, choose to do the things that suck, the stuff that's not so fun, it's not so glamorous. It's a choice. So for me, it's just a conscious choice every day to try to make myself better, 1% better every single day in something. I have to learn something. I have to get better at something every single day. And when I have those wins, I think that's what reprograms your mind and keeps the negative thoughts out and keeps you thinking, I can accomplish more. What else can I do? What else can we do at work? And I think 2024, with the things that we have planned, my mentality is we're gonna take over. Like, if I can do these things, I can do this over here. Not a problem. The challenges I had when I was 25 are different than the ones I have today at 40. When I was 25, I actually got fired at my parents' company. And I was like, oh, shoot. My daughter just turned 1, and I had to tell my husband I just got fired. I start looking for work, and I found this job, and it was a controller position at a much bigger company. So higher position, bigger company. I said, I'm getting that job. And he's like, my husband's my biggest supporter of all time. He's like, I don't know, honey, like that's a big role, and I know it's mine. I'm getting it. And I told my family, and they said, I don't think you're gonna get that job. I'm gonna get that job. So I go for the interview, and I'm there for like 2.5 hours, and he's calling me. I didn't know he was calling me. And he was worried that maybe I didn't get the job and I was upset somewhere. And I got hired on the spot. I kind of knew when I started the job, like I had a lot to prove, a lot. I was a young woman working in a male-dominant role. All of my counterparts were male. All of my business contacts were male, and I was a young female. The fact that I had a boss that was really supportive of my role was really helpful, but it certainly took a few years and a lot of me stepping outside of my comfort zone to prove that I earned that position. It wasn't given to me. It was something I wanted. I took it and I ran with it. I think I told my boss when I was there for 6 months, I said, you're gonna promote me to CFO. And he kind of looked at me like I was crazy. And I'm like, no, like that's gonna be my job. And I slowly started taking over different departments where I thought needed support that I didn't think that they were getting. And I saw changes that I knew needed to happen. And I just said, I'm gonna go ahead and start managing this department. And then I'm gonna manage this one. And I wanna manage that one too. And he's looking at me like, what? And I'm like, yeah, like those are now my departments. I got pregnant with Cameron, took maternity leave for about 2 weeks, worked from home, came back from maternity leave, graduated with my MBA when I was pregnant with Cameron. I think I was 5 months pregnant with him. And I came back and I said, it's time for me to be the CFO. He wasn't quite ready. And I knew there was like this massive project that needed to be done. And it wasn't done when I was off on leave. I said, well, I know our company needs an ERP system and we haven't done it. And you guys have been waiting 1.5 years. I'm gonna take on that project and I'm gonna finish it. He said, you don't have an IT background. I'm like, I'll figure it out. I'll have the right people. We're gonna get it done. It took me 8 months to complete that project. Never went down for a day. The live was amazing. I learned a ton, and I knew going through that process, I would have to single-handedly learn every person's job, inside and out, beginning to end. There was nothing about the entire operation of that business I would not know from heading up that project. And I knew if I could take that on and be successful at it, there's no way I'm not getting that role that I want. So completed it, I got promoted, and it was awesome. So I feel like I really had to fight for the respect, but man, like, I fucking earned it. Like, I was like, this is gonna be mine, and it's gonna be good. And it was great because, you know, I think it took about 2.5 years for big banks to take me seriously, big CPA firms to take me seriously, insurance companies, and they knew that when they spoke to me, I had that authority, I had the knowledge, and I had the power to make things happen. I am on LinkedIn, Kellie Clark, Kellie, last name Clark, Clark. You can follow me there. You can visit our company website at www.a-tacinc.com. I'm Kellie Clark, and I'm a great American woman. If you found anything great about this video, please like, share, and subscribe.